Welcome everyone to our Ask the Experts Q&A. This is your chance to get to know the DC Marvel staff who are experts in the field of exercise science, health, and fitness, and ask them all of your questions that you would like to know about brain health and anything that's related to the study. Our expert today is Josh Gills, and he is a graduate research assistant at the University of Arkansas, a personal trainer, and a nutrition coach. Today, he's going to be explaining to us blood biomarkers, how we can interpret them, and what we can do to have optimized those numbers. Before we dive into this really interesting topic, Josh, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, your role in the study.
Yeah, so I'm a senior graduate student at the University of Arkansas. I'm a graduate research assistant in the lab of aging studies, and I work on day-to-day activities such as data collection, working as primary with working with individuals in the study, and then also working with the processing blood. I also am tasked with writing grants and writing different manuscripts as well, and writing different reports for this study.
Great. So just getting us right on into this big topic, tell us a little bit about what are some of the blood biomarkers that are being used in the study and why have they been selected?
Yeah, so we have several different biomarkers we're looking at. We have some healthy biomarkers, and we have some more riskier or risk factor biomarkers for dementia. More risky ones like inflammation, or some of y'all may know as C-reactive protein, or CRP as we call it. It is an inflammation marker, and it is associated with increased risk for Alzheimer's, and it's also associated with the Alzheimer's disease pathology, or those biomarkers as well. And then also we're looking at brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. It is more of a healthy biomarker we're looking at, and it increases with exercise as well, but it's associated with maintenance of brain structure and brain function. So we're talking about memory processes in the hippocampus, or we're talking about attention and processing speed. It is associated with those markers positively. So.
Well, thanks for explaining that. So we have the healthy and we have the riskier biomarkers that we're all kind of looking at and doing some research on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so tell us about what we can do to have optimal cholesterol levels. I know we're testing triglycerides and LDL and all these different things.
Yeah, well, cholesterol is another, we can call it a biomarker, but we also call it a cardiometabolic risk factor. It is a risk factor for cardiovascular disease, which is also associated with an increased risk for Alzheimer's disease and dementia. But yeah, so we're jumping into it. LDL, or low density lipoprotein, is usually called the bad cholesterol as we know it. And ways to improve or to decrease those levels is through your diet, and specifically reducing those saturated fats and trans fats. So those fried foods, those fattier foods that we tend to like sometimes or indulge in. We want to keep that in moderation. And then we have HDL. Obviously, we want to increase that through exercise, resistance training, and cardiovascular exercise were good ways to go about increasing HDL, which is negatively associated with cardiovascular disease.
Yeah, so lots of things I'm hearing that we can do to optimize those cholesterol readings, through diet and exercise, and including healthier foods like fatty fish.
Yes, definitely. And that's why health coaching is so important, to help steer you on the right track.
That's right. And I'm sure this kind of ties into what you're sharing, like inflammation. So what does inflammation have to do with brain health? Yeah,
so inflammation, there's chronic, and then there's also like temporary, or we call it transient inflammation. That chronic inflammation is what we want to reduce. So like I said before, those are associated with the AD pathology, or AD biomarkers that we look at as well. And you want to reduce those levels just to reduce your risk for dementia, and also reducing inflammation just for other diseases such as diabetes, and any type of cardiovascular disease.
Mhm. And so this is something that's come up in some of my coaching sessions, that I have some participants that feel really good, but their cholesterol might be on the high side. So what would be a reason why they would want to improve their outcomes with cholesterol, improve those numbers?
Yeah, so it all ties together. It's a long game here, where you might feel good now, but those markers or those cholesterol levels, if they're too high or the LDL is too low, it could play a factor later in life with cardiovascular disease, which would, which would cause more. It would cause it could cause diagnoses of a different event of such as cardiovascular disease or dementia as well. So you want to work to reduce that risk for those diseases later in life, pretty much. You may feel good now, but it's always good to practice a better lifestyle to reduce those risky factors and increase your overall health.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think we talked a little bit about this before we went live with our recording, that, it's really guarding that independence. And I know all of us are wanting to stay independent as long as we can.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things too, is if you want to live an independent lifestyle later in life and even get into later life, it's important to decrease those risk factors now through living that healthy lifestyle. That's really the main point of the intervention, is to reduce that dementia by improving your lifestyle.
Yeah, so we're thinking of prevention here, and you've shared a lot of ideas about how through our eating, through our activity, cardiovascular health, how all these can play a role in keeping us healthy for that long game, that independence.
Yes, definitely. Also, can't forget about sleeping as well. Sleep is definitely important to reduce those negative biomarkers, as we call it. Definitely, you shouldn't negate your sleep or optimal amount of sleep.
Yeah. So Josh, I'm really hearing how we do work together, like the DC Marvel staff and the health coaching arm of the study. Like, we do kind of work together as a team in all of this. Like, there's a reason behind the coaching part, and there's a reason for, I know those testing days coming in are pretty arduous for our participants. And it sounds like we're really in this together. Yes.
Everything ties together for the most part. We're not just saying eat healthier or start walking more. It's to help reduce the risk for those diseases later in life, especially dementia. So I think we all work together in that fact of helping the participants, or helping the participants in the health coaching group to improve their lifestyle.
Yeah. So I guess if you were to sum all of this up, what would be some of the takeaways that you would want our participants to have here today? Is there anything else you would want to add that we might have missed?
Basically to work on those factors to improve your lifestyle, such as eating well, exercising, or increasing physical activity. When I say eat well, we talk about the MIND diet or the DASH or Mediterranean. So those polyunsaturated fats and nuts and things of that nature. Also, to still gain sleep definitely helps improve those biomarkers. And it all works together. Like, we want to improve the blood biomarker factor, the blood biomarker levels, because it ties in well with improving brain structure, or maintaining brain structure, and improving brain function, or keeping brain function is similar. We talk about memory and processing speed and attention. It all ties together.
Thank you so much for your time here today.
Oh, no problem. It was great having me. Great for you to have me, and I'm glad to explain anything if anybody needs more. Anybody has more questions.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Look forward to our next recording with you. Bye-bye.